Committee, it's 7:01. Today is February 2nd. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Hope everybody's doing well. I'm in efficiency mode. I've got a lot of stuff going on, so if we can move, well, let's just say as efficiently as possible, not faster. So my only intention tonight was to get through the blurbs. I did want to, I apologize, it's going to take me a minute to bring them up, but I see people have some printed copies, which is way better than...
You need me to read them?
Nah, it'll be up in a minute. I mean, I skimmed through them in advance. I really wanted to start and have just a quick conversation. So Tom sent an email, Neil sent an email. Normally we like to have those conversations live, but here's what we decided last year. We decided, and this was an exception that we made, we said, look, there were several votes that were, correct me if I'm wrong, they were so close, they were either tie or within one vote, that what we decided was that it was acceptable and reasonable to put both sides of the drivers in there. 6-3 is not close.
Nope.
There's no reason for us to put both sides of an argument on 6-3. That's completely different than what we decided last year. If you guys recall differently, you're welcome to tell me, but I don't see any reason to do that, Bill.
I will call your attention to last year. We have, on the town side, the town raises recommended by a Finance Committee vote 9-4. Members in the minority, while supporting raises, felt a lower percentage raise would have been more appropriate, noting the financial impacts of COVID on taxpayers. I go to the school side. John Stark, teacher's contract. If I can find it here. That's where teachers. Okay, teacher's contract extension recommended by the Finance Committee 8-4. Committee members in the minority did not support raises at this level in a year where COVID has impacted household incomes. We have put this in other years. That vote was 9-4, 8-4, which is similar to 6-3, which is why they're in there this year.
Honestly, it's against what we agreed on, though. Even though we did that,
Well,
I don't disagree with that, Bill, but
Yeah.
that is not what we agreed on as a committee. What we agreed on a committee is it was
Okay.
if it was within, so
Okay.
we did that against the spirit of what we agreed on. And I completely get what you're saying.
Okay.
We did do
Well,
that, but the intent of, I distinctly remember the conversation, because I'm pretty sure I'm the one that said, yes, let's go ahead and put a minority opinion if it's within a vote. And I might have said a vote or two, I don't
Yeah.
remember exactly. But
Well,
I think that,
I mean, we can say this. I'll just make a couple.
I'd rather
I'll just
lessen it. I'm sorry?
I'll just make a couple of other points. The minority opinion, while not necessarily the supported by a cross-section of this committee, I think would be supported, or a cross-section of this community at large would want to hear what the minority opinion is.
They will when they get Neil's flyer.
That's true.
Let me, yeah, but let me finish this. We have recommended every article for the schools and the town, okay, except one, which is the master plan. So are we doing a disservice to the voters of this town if we're going to pass along everything without considering the total impact? If you take every article that we voted on, you could have, I think I came up with, I know Megan has the numbers, but when I ran them, about a 15% potential tax increase on a $350,000 house it'd be $791 on your tax bill. And I think that people are going to look at what we recommend and they're going to say, I don't want to pay that much in taxes. So they start cherry picking. They go back and they say, well, there's a 3, and there's a 3 in the minority with no comments, and they're going to say, okay, I'll vote against it. But I don't know why those three voted for that. I think it does everybody a service if we say, if people can understand why people voted in the minority, the three that they did, because they may say, I don't agree with that minority, but I may agree with this one. Whereas now, you're just leaving it out there saying three, but we don't know why. So that,
So,
and if we say no here, we're not gonna put any minority comments in. To me, that's what drives additional flyers going out. If you put it in here and allowed that free discussion, you may not need additional flyers.
Bill, that's ridiculous.
No, it's not.
It drives flyers. Neil's going to do what he's going to do no matter what. I respected everything you said until that very moment. He's going to do what he's going to do regardless of
But
the
why
comments.
shouldn't we, as a committee,
That's a
allow a free discussion
Hold on.
instead of getting, we're gonna silence you?
We can have the discussion, but let's exclude that nonsense. That has nothing to do with us in the Finance Committee and his flyers. We don't care. I don't care.
Well, I care. I care. I think we did a lot of work here, and I think those comments should be in there.
No, you're missing the point. Let's not make it about Neil's flyer.
Okay, I won't make it about-
Forget about Neil's flyer.
I won't
Let's
even call it Neil's flyer. I'll call it a conservative flyer that goes out that maybe Neil happens to be a part of a group.
But right, we're not putting description to combat what someone else writes. It's the results of this meeting. It's the results of this committee, is it not?
It's the results of this.
Okay, can we just keep it to the results of the committee? We're gonna have this discussion. I can't tell
If
you,
you're
no,
gonna,
you
I'm
can't
just
do
gonna
it.
tell you, if you're gonna say no minority comments.
It's
we're
not
gonna-
my
No,
call,
wait.
it's the committee's call. You think that I'm gonna say no? I gave you my
I don't
opinion.
know. I don't know. You're telling me right now you're gonna exclude them.
No, I'm giving you facts, which is what the spirit of the agreement that we made.
I don't remember an agreement. This year?
Okay.
This year, we're gonna make an
Bill, you're
agreement?
arguing semantics. Everybody can talk about it and make a decision. We're a committee. This is not a dictatorship. You're assuming I'm
Oh.
gonna say no.
Okay. I'm just
You
saying.
already assumed. It's not my decision. We are a committee. Collectively, we make a decision.
Okay.
And just as a point, all of these are in the minutes. So if people want to know the specifics, they can read the minutes.
They're not gonna read the minutes. They're gonna read this flyer when it comes out.
I know more people that take that flyer and toss it in the trash when they get it than actually read it.
Well, I disagree. I'm just saying that by, if you want to remove these comments, you're telling me that maybe you want to silence those comments because perhaps I make a better, or the minority makes a better case for their position than the majority can make. I'm welcome. If there's anything in here that I have said that's not factual, tell me. If you can make a better case, add stuff. But let the people decide. Why are we here?
May I?
Yes.
Since I sort of started this.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with minority opinions, but I do think that 6-3, it's like 1/3, 2/3 in favor. So when you get to something like the teacher's contract, and the minority opinion is the last thing that people read before they move on from it, that it's like, I'm afraid it's just going to kill something that the town really needs. And the same thing with, I mentioned three, the two contracts and the kindergarten, whereas the minority opinion came near the end, where I guess it would have to be. But I'm afraid that we have three people whose comments are going to sound louder than the committee's decision in three areas that, the contracts especially, are so meaningful in order to retain staff. So if we have a 2/3 majority that are in favor of recommending, I can't see ending the comments with something that can turn the opinion around. And maybe it's the phrasing, maybe it's whatever, but to me, as I read those, that's what was going through my mind when I said that. And those three stood out because the contracts, we've heard over and over again that that's the biggest problem, is the retention of staff that the schools have. So I think that if the majority is in favor of them, I'm not saying don't put anything else in, but I don't think that it's as necessary as it would be in a 5-4 vote. or a 9-2, or, you know, I don't think that's a close vote, and that's what Tom was saying too, but I know that he's quoting what I said, so I'm just defending my own position here, but 6-3 is 2-1 in favor of. And again, that's my opinion, and whatever the committee decides, I'm not gonna go home and sulk. I mean, you know.
I will. So if I may though, if I recall, before, I was one of the ones that suggested that we put a cutoff on what the ratio was, whether it was, you know, what the minimum requirement was on here. And if I'm looking at this, you know, with the 5-4 or the 6-3 votes or the 5-3 and 1 vote, we have a total of 7 that are questionable, you know, have a 6-3 or closer, you know, margin on there. We can decide, and I think we can decide, do we want to include it on 6-3, or do we want to exclude it for anything that's, you know, for anything that's closer than, or not as close as that. You know, we can make that decision. And I'd be happy to, you know, make that, you know, that we have that. We can decide, do we want to include it for the 6-3s votes, or do we want to exclude it?
I think we should vote.
So I need something more specifically to vote. Oh, I hear what James is saying, do you know what I'm saying? And I realize we're in debate before there's a motion, but does anybody want to share something before we have a proposal for a vote?
Neil, did you have something that you wanted to add?
But, hold on, Jeff started talking first.
Oh,
No,
sorry.
I'm good, go ahead.
I don't like votes where the majority silences the minority.
Welcome to America.
No, I've got some thoughts, but it's not relative to the vote. I'll bring these up a little bit later.
Yeah, look, at the end of the day, I don't know that my opinion is my opinion, so I didn't mean, if I was imposing my will on anybody, that was not my intent. I may have felt more strongly about this, but my intent wasn't to tell you the way it was gonna be done, so if that's the way it came off, I do apologize. I am very much interested in what the whole committee's opinion is.
Well, if I may, make a motion to recommend that we include the minority opinion on those that are close, or that are in the 6-3 voting ratio.
Yeah, I'll second that.
Okay, so the motion is to make a minority opinion on recommendations where the majority was 6-3.
Or closer. So that would include the 5-4s.
Okay? Does it include the 5-4s?
If you're closer,
Yes.
yes.
And
I
what
think
about
you-
the other one?
I think it would be,
It would also include the one that's at 5-3 and 1. So really what it's doing is it's excluding 7-2 or less.
I think it would be easier, just for minutes wise, and for people to understand if we cut it at not like a 7-1 or whatever, if we did like a 2/3 or more, or, you know what I mean? To add,
I was actually thinking the same, and although I didn't do the math in my head, I was thinking that if it's within so many votes or a percent,
Exactly.
or percentage of a vote, and I don't know if that even works in this scenario.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, if it's 9-3, sorry, is that
That's
nine?
That'd be a
not
3-1.
Sorry,
We can't have
6-3,
9-3 because
excuse
we
me.
only had 9.
I'm sorry, I was thinking, I'm sorry, my brain was literally
So
just
that's
catching up.
That's 2/3.
Is that 30, you're right, 2/3. So what's the number, and the percentage-wise then, Leo? Because what you're saying, because like if, are you saying within 3 votes?
What he's saying is if you have 7 or more.
Neil, you have to be on camera, this is ridiculous.
Or at least 9.
Just sit at the table.
If you have 7 or more votes, then there would be no minority report, is what he's saying.
So motion to recommend adding the minority
Opinion.
opinion.
Really, what you say is if it reaches 1/3 or more of the votes. That's what the 6-3 is. If the minority is 1/3 or greater, then a minority opinion is included.
That's a better math, I think. I can go with that.
The minority is 1/3 or greater.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to make it
I understand.
as
Yeah,
understandable as possible.
Yep.
Okay.
I think that probably this decision's more important for next year than it is for this. Because, you know, if we go with this, then the 6-3 has a minority opinion, and we decide that, but we don't know what our numbers are gonna be next year. So if we make a decision, put it in the minutes, that if there's 1/3 or more in the minority, then we have a minority opinion, then it would, like, we're scrambling right now saying, what did we say last year?
Well, we didn't have it specific. I mean,
Yeah,
I think we were looking at like four.
we could say that this year, yeah, but you're gonna have a different makeup of your committee next year. I think,
Then I guess what I'm saying, maybe at that time.
and you may have issues that you look at it and you say, you know, there really should be another half included in this one, you know? It may be the issue itself that dictates whether you put something else in there. I don't know if you really, I understand you wanna lock in this year, that's a
okay.
committee's call.
We can take a look at it again next year. You know, if we have 12 people voting.
Yeah, yeah,
then that,
12
you
or
know, a one-
13, who knows how many
Yeah.
you're gonna have, yeah.
We will have different
I
numbers.
mean,
think what
tonight,
we-
we only have 7.
I think what we need is maybe another step next year, so it doesn't all fall on, whether it's Bill's writing them or whoever's writing them on their shoulders to make that call. So if we want to look at the group next year and have that group, whoever's in it, make a decision, whether it's the 1/3 or more or whatever, then we should make that decision before Bill or whoever goes off to write these, so that they know the direction of the group. You know, I apologize, I know the amount of work that goes into doing this, I'm not trying to screw it up. I just have a feeling about the numbers, and I'll live with whatever the group decides, obviously. So,
So I think that, sorry, unless you have another comment, I think
No, I
that
don't.
your motion needs to be amended to, or you need to agree to the amended motion and have it seconded.
All right, so as amended, it stands that the minority vote needs to be 1/3 of the total or greater to include the minority opinion.
Okay. And so does that have to be that has to be seconded, the amended motion? So Bill, second. Okay. Any other debate?
I just had, last year, in the minutes, it was stated, it was discussed that the vote of the Finance Committee members to recommend or not should be more detailed if the vote count was close, to better relay to the taxpayers the thought process from both the yes and the no votes. It just said if it was close.
Now, if we look at our funding, if they were like 8-4, we're looking at about 1/3.
Any other discussion on it? So I think then we'll just go to a vote to see what we decide. Tom, you mind if we start with you? So it's a motion to include comments.
yeah,
The third.
that's fine. I vote no.
James?
I'll vote yes.
I will vote no.
I will vote no.
Yes,
No.
No. So we've got a 3-3.
Tom, James, Tom D.
I'm sorry, I count wrong.
That's
Sorry.
4 and
2 yeses and.
So I'm sorry.
I was gonna say
1,
that-
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
And you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 no.
The vote was 2-5.
Yeah,
You got 5 no.
James was yes, Tom,
Bill and James are yes, the rest are no.
And Neil was?
It was a no,
Okay. So then it,
so that we're not doing the
so
minority opinion.
the vote.
Neil, may I don't mean this to be a wise guy, but I expect you to vote the other way on that. You just, no means that you don't agree with the one-third, two-thirds thing.
One-third, two-third is better than what you were proposing before, which was just on the 5-4s. But I don't believe in silencing the minority. I would go through this thing, and where the minority has a point that really should be put to the voters, then we should do that. For example, one of the things that we have to do, regardless of whether this motion passes or not, is give the complete financial information to voters.
Right.
That's a fact. It's not a position one way or the other. We just can't say we support this and not give them the numbers.
Right, like
I don't know if,
in the teacher's contract, for example, it does give all the numbers.
yeah,
there's
in
explain-
many of them it does, but in some it doesn't, and we need to, I think
But-
we need to change that.
Again, I think that maybe we're on two different pages, because by voting no, you're disagreeing with the one-third being minority, that you think that any minority should, is
Sir,
that what you're saying?
You're right, Tom. Any one-third is better than the current practice of 5-4. I agree with you. But I don't like the idea of us taking a position that we are going to silence the minority and not give them an opportunity to state their position in the blurb. I think we should give them that opportunity.
So
For
then-
example, in cases where I'm a single vote, 8-1, I would not ask for my position to be in there. I don't want to waste the voters' time. But there may be an occasion where that one person has, or two people, have a really important point to make. I think it should be in there. The idea is to inform voters so that they can understand and accept, or at least understand the basis for our decision. And silencing the minority, I don't think is a way to do that.
Neil, forgive me, but it sounds like you don't agree with, you lost me too, because it sounds like you don't agree with Bill and James.
I guess I'm being a purist.
Oh.
They're agreeing to some limit, and I don't think there
Oh,
should be
fair
any
enough.
limit, okay?
Thank you, thank you. Now I understand where you're coming from.
So I'll start taking those out.
No. Don't we have to go over them? There's financial
Okay.
information in there, Bill.
No, I was taking out the minority opinion states.
And so I think we
But,
went,
okay,
Sorry,
go ahead.
well, I was gonna just say, I think we start by reading out loud your blurb that you've drafted.
I can do that.
Well, I don't mean you have to, but sure if you.
I'm happy to.
Okay,
I
sure.
wrote it. We're gonna
I'm
start with
still
where-
trying to bring it up on my computer.
You wanna start with where schools? I'm trying to get you out of
Yeah,
here
you
in
can
a
start
timely
right at the
manner.
top, thank you.
So, I'm sorry, are we gonna go in the same, like we did Article 3, how we did it in the?
I don't know.
I was just thinking that, shouldn't we just go in the order that he
Article 3,
emailed it to us?
that's fine.
Okay.
Okay.
If you guys don't
Yeah.
mind.
Article 3, where school budget, I'm not gonna read the article, I'll just read our blurb, okay?
Please.
Where school budget recommended 5-4, the proposed budget is 2.57% higher than the current operating budget. The default is 1.58% higher. Majority of the committee supported the proposed budget. The $165,000 difference between the proposed and default was considered a small price to pay to ensure we are investing in our teachers and students and giving them the resources needed to improve education and Ware. Members in the minority felt the district has failed to reduce classrooms and staffing at the elementary level consistent with steady declines in student population over the years. These savings would have given the district an opportunity to propose a budget less than a default, which could have improved support for multiple teacher-staff contracts on the ballot.
Any discussion on the first half of the blurb in favor? I actually thought it was well-written.
I'm happy with it.
I really,
I'm fine with that.
Okay?
And just to confirm, this one, we're going to keep the minority.
It's 5-4,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yep.
Next, Article 4, where teacher contract recommended 6-3. This is a 2-year contract providing an estimated 5% increase each year. It applies to teachers across the board, including those off scale. Starting salaries would increase from $38,675 to $44,35. Average salaries would increase from $5,400 to $55,800. The total cost of the contract after 2 years is projected to be $810,979 more than today. The expected impact on a $350,000 property in Ware would be, and I didn't fill in the number there because I think Megan would have had those numbers, so that's empty for now, added to the recurring tax bill after 2 years. The committee supports the contract and believes the increases are necessary to support hiring and retention. There is concern failure to approve may result in a large exodus of teachers to higher-paying districts. Committee members in the minority believe a 5% increase in each of the 2 years is excessive and does not target the areas most critical for hiring and retention. Members in the minority also object to a new contract provision for the district to pay 50% of healthcare premiums to a limited number to each year of teachers who retire early at age 55. This can be covered for 10 years up until Medicare eligible at age 65. Tax dollars would thus be supporting another retiree benefit as opposed to going directly into classroom education.
There's a factual error here.
Yep.
The 810,000 figure should be 544 or something like that. What Bill did was to add the cost of 3 years when he's making a point not about the cost for 3 years, but about the recurring cost in the future, which is only the sum of the first year and the second year. That's the recurring cost, not the total cost over 2 years, but each year we're going to be paying an extra $544,000 in salaries. And you get that out of the the warrant article says the first year cost of the contract is $244,000 and change, and the second year is $322,000. And those two together is $566. And that's the recurring cost. Frank Campana always wants to know the total cost of the contract, which indeed is the $810,000. But Bill's making the point here, as I understand it, about the recurring cost, and that's only $566.
No, I said the expected impact, the total cost of the contract after 2 years is projected to be $810,978 more than today.
That's
correct. You're paying, what we pay the teachers today, 2 years from now, we'll be paying in salaries and benefits $810,000. You take the 2 years combined plus the second year. The first year, 2 years.
no, I agree with.
Then the next sentence says, the expected impact on a $350,000 probably would be added to the recurring tax bill after 2 years. Then you put that amount in there. It's not, it's apples and oranges.
So in other words, the tax impact will be based on 566, not 810.
Right.
Thank you.
It's not saying that.
It's, okay. I didn't read it that way, but it can
Oh,
be
well,
read that
maybe
way.
it can be worded better. I don't know. Yeah.
Right, Bill.
The idea that the two-year contract is an estimated 5% increase is not accurate. It's more, I mean, some teachers are 3.7%. The district, it's a lot based on the insurance plans. The teachers are being, if you join the Luminous plan, you're paying, the district last year, or this year, is paying $5,000 of the pot that they draw from. That's not the HSA. Next year, the teachers are gonna pay $2,500. They're gonna pay half of that. Their percentage of what they're paying for the premium is going down by 5%. But they're gonna have to pay the $2,500 for the insurance. So, I mean, if you take a middle-of-the-road teacher, making $54,000 with a two-person health plan, this year she's paying $2,700 a year for insurance. Next year, that person will pay $3,562. A 5% raise for 54,126 will be $2,972, but paying more for the health care, so her raise is actually $2,115, which is 3.7%, not 5%. The family plan people will pay more, they'll get more closer to the 5% raise. But they're typically the younger teachers, which are making the lesser of the money, but. So I think that 5% is a little deceiving.
Weren't we told that by the superintendent?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just looking at the public hearing now, on the numbers. Where collective bargaining agreement, yeah, in the public hearing, they said a 2.25% increase in COLA and a 2.75 increase steps, average. So 2.75 and 2.25, I got 5. And that's what they stated at the public hearing. I mean, you can probably pick out other, you know what I mean?
I do.
So I was using what the district said.
Okay.
Without starting a big debate on, one of the things that concerns me when we pick out a piece of the contract, like the extended insurance for the retiree, is that not being at the negotiating table, we don't know what the trade-off was. In other words, that's the whole thing. You sit down and negotiate, you want this, you give up this. So, it's just difficult call because we're never gonna be at that table. Do we put something in that's probably gonna negatively impact the vote, when we don't know what the other side of it was during the negotiations itself? You know, I mean, I don't know, obviously. I'm just saying that being at the negotiating table in many different circumstances, I know that it's a give and take, it has to be. So what was given up in order for that benefit for retirees to be put in? I don't know. But I just think that I could see people looking at that and say, what are they doing? You know?
I think that's why it needs to be in there. What are they doing?
But again, you don't
I
know
mean,
what the
I
trade-off
mean, I wasn't at
was
the
for.
negotiating table for the Iran, the Iran nuclear deal, and I didn't like the results. You know, I mean, just jokingly, you know. But so I don't know who the negotiators were, but I can tell you on that particular issue. I mean, I have a relative who sits on not a finance committee, he's on a budget committee down in Connecticut, and I was just talking to him about different things that they're dealing with and what we're dealing. I mentioned this, and he said, "You're going to be kidding me." He says, "We got that taken out." And it's been being taken out of a lot of places. We're trying to put it in because it's not going to me, it needs, we need to make sure the voters on that one are aware of that provision. Like you said, it might influence a vote. That's the idea. Do people want to be providing a benefit for people going out the door that in the private sector and even in other school jurisdictions are being taken out, not put in? And if it does influence the vote and it doesn't pass this year, I would bet that next year, when it comes in with another contract, it won't be in there. Because people sent a message and said, that's not a good deal. It doesn't improve education on a daily basis in the classroom.
May I make a suggestion as to language? On the 5th line down, first word is today. The total cost of the contract is expected to be $810,000 more than today. In order to honor the committee's vote and eliminating the minority report, I think that we should take the factual statement that was in the minority report about the new contract provision, because voters should know that this contract has something that other contracts didn't have, and put that in after the word today. So it would read, the total cost of the contract after 2 years is projected to be $810,979 more than today. And then I would add, members in the, there is a new contract provision for the district to pay 50% of health care premiums for a limited number, 2 per year, of teachers who retire early at age 55. This can be covered for 10 years up until Medicare eligible at age 65. And then go on, the expected impact on a $350,000 property, so-and-so is added to the recurring tax bill after 2 years. The committee supports the contract and believes the increases are necessary to support hiring and retention. There is concern failure to approve may result in a large exodus of teachers to higher paying districts, period. So what I've tried to do is to move the factual statement about the contract into the part of the article which describes the contract, and then keep all of the language that Bill has with respect to the position of the majority, and eliminate anything about the minority position and the minority's objection to the contract.
Just a point of clarification, so that provision is just this year's contract, we never had that provision before?
That's correct, for where? Stark has a similar provision, but it has a bunch of restrictions around it when Zach was talking to us. On that night, he went back and said, yeah, but it's capped at this one is not.
My concern with what, it kind of seems like putting in something that you objected to and trying to flip it into a positive with Neil, your
It's trying to flip it into a factual statement that's important, that
that's-
voters are aware of it.
I
Taking out
think
the
that's a
opinion.
better place for it.
Okay, if that's the way you guys see it, then I won't object. So, if you're in agreement, then, I would say adopt Neil's language.
Neil, could I ask that you just reread it again, just so I was trying to.
Again, I'm going to put it in a slightly different place because it just flows better. This is a 2-year contract. It applies to teachers across the board. Starting salaries would increase. And at the end of that sentence, after the 55,800, insert this sentence. There is a new contract provision for the district to pay 50% of healthcare premiums for a limited number, 2 each year, of teachers who retire early at age 55, period. This can be covered for 10 years up until Medicare, and Medicare should be capitalized, eligible at age 65, period. And then the rest of it goes, and then you delete everything after committee members in the minority believe. That's all out.
Yeah.
So I think we're in agreement, with the exception for Megan's gonna give us the number,
Yeah.
the 350,000, and,
I mean,
And-
if you tell me the number, I can get you a number.
expected impact for the $350,000 price.
If you give me the number-
Neil had that number, it was the not the 800 some, it was the 500.
Just for 566 divided by 1260.
It's an even number,
No, you want it in change?
566,000 what?
Close enough.
Did you just take her calculator, or is it, oh, that's his.
No, she wants the actual, where the hell is that?
I had the even figure, so.
Okay. 244, 273 plus 322, 433, 566, 706.
$157. 157,
Got it?
and you get that by dividing by the net assessed valuation times 3.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, got it.
So we're good then, if that's,
Okay.
okay? So it's $157. I'm not gonna try and add that to my changes.
Article 5?
Yeah, yes, Bill, please.
Okay, where support staff contract recommended 9-0, the support staff is not eligible for retirement or employer-paid health insurance. The $90,150 cost for the article and the increased starting pay for a para 2 from the $90,150 cost for the article will increase starting pay for a para 2 from $13.47 to $14.91. Average pay for paras will increase from $14.05 to $15.25. The committee supports this 1-year contract and feel it is needed to address severe hiring and retention issues among this employee group. The numbers I got from the public hearing that were up on the placard.
I mean, they look like what I remember.
I'm good.
Yeah, very good. Good. Moving on. Article 6, full-day kindergarten. Recommended 6-3, the district has done a good job of meeting its original task of formulating a strategy to pass full-day kindergarten. They have presented a program which will save money in the near term. The actual savings could be up to $57,000 a year because of increased state reimbursements for full versus half-day students, and the elimination of midday bus runs. Actual savings will be dependent on the number of full-day students and the number of classrooms. There is currently space available at the elementary school to accommodate the program. The committee therefore is supportive of this initiative. It will bring Ware in line with the vast majority of New Hampshire communities in offering a full-day program. It will enhance property values. It will give students the opportunity to be better prepared for first grade. The committee at the same time cautions taxpayers not to be too focused on short-term savings. The initial savings achieved are expected to disappear as salary benefit costs for added staff will increase at a higher rate than state reimbursement and transportation costs. Additionally, using up to 5 classrooms for kindergarten will reduce any flexibility to accommodate future increases if needed in grades 1 through 3.
I had actually some comments on the pro statements. I'm just thinking, it will enhance property values. Can we say something like,
It's expected.
yeah, it will just sounds like, like your property value is going to go up if you vote this in.
Well, what I'm trying to think of is,
I think it's the spirit of it is right. I just,
I don't have to put it in there if you think that they have the wrong.
does anybody else have that opinion?
No, I agree. I agree with it.
Change it if that
it-
it's anticipated.
It's too definitive. I mean,
Or we can just strike it because it's implied. I mean, if we've got better schools,
I mean, I can take it out. I just had heard that, and I wrote it down as one of the items when I was cherry picking.
I'm impressed that you actually wrote a lot of the positive stuff that we talked about, which is, I appreciate.
You mean I can't, I don't write positive stuff?
No, I meant you wrote both sides, right? And that's
In this
good.
one, the latter comments, if you look, I didn't write it as a minority opinion, because I think everybody was talking about those issues, space at the elementary school, and maybe disappear is a bad word on salary benefit costs, but will.
Well, I was hoping to get into that, but I was thinking on the next line too, though, like just property values, and then it will give the students. I think we're implying something else there.
Okay.
Honestly, I would rather not have those two statements in there, because I do think that, like, we're saying it will give them the opportunity to be better prepared. I don't think everybody's gonna agree with that. I think it's a great opportunity, but do we really wanna say that?
I-
Well, I don't know, we're doing it. That's one of the part of the discussions that we had.
Yeah, that's
You
why I
know,
put
we're
it in
not-
there.
We're not trying
Okay, so we believe it will give the students then.
I can
To say it will is just,
You want to say a majority of the, will?
no, please don't.
I-
How about we believe?
We
No,
believe.
it is believed as
It is
opposed to we.
believed. It is believed.
Yeah,
Okay.
right. It is believed, sure.
Okay,
As
I can
far
do
as the
that.
property values, I could go either way. That's just my opinion.
It's too definitive.
It just seems
Okay.
right. So are we gonna leave that, but Neil, before we move on, did we come to an agreement? Are we gonna leave that or just strike it? It will enhance property values.
Strike it.
I struck it.
Strike it.
I struck it. That's
After
out.
the reeval, people might not want their property.
Yeah, you're right. No, I understand. Yeah, I was saying,
Good point.
I was thinking the flip side, when you sell your house, you're gonna get more money for it, but, yeah, okay.
There's one very important thing that's missing from here that was a contentious issue and one of the reasons why prior kindergarten proposals went down. And that was that in the prior proposals, they didn't have enough space, so they eliminated art classroom and music classroom.
No, I didn't put that.
And now, they figured out a way to have kindergarten and still have a full classroom of art for art students and a full classroom for music students. That needs to be in here.
Neil, that's a great observation, and I think right after, I already started typing, there is currently space available at the elementary school to accommodate the program without sacrificing space for art and music programs.
Okay, got it.
One of my newspaper assignments in the next couple of weeks is gonna be to write up the kindergarten, and I'll make sure that appears in that as well.
So I separated the two, and then, so the next part of it was, to tell you the truth, it is very factual, Bill. I think it can be strewed for or against in some instances. Caution the taxpayers. But what I will say is, our biggest problem, and I don't like it either, and your big problem was they sold it as a savings, which
Yeah.
I think it should have never been talked about, but I don't know that we should be emphasizing it, because the spirit of why the majority that voted for it isn't because they said it was savings. I don't believe for a second. So I don't know if you get my point that I'm saying here. Like, I don't feel like we need to caution people on that because that's not the reason we voted. Am I making sense?
But they don't know that unless we say it.
But they don't know that they sold it as a savings to us unless they watch all the videos either.
They don't know that we know they know.
Oh, my goodness.
If they,
But you see what I'm saying? Like, unless they're watching our debates,
I just think that when this, I don't know what the school's gonna say when the little flyer comes out on the preliminary.
oh, you're
marks.
anticipating that they will sell it.
And I think
that
they're
way.
gonna sell it as, let me,
Why don't
I'm gonna
we,
remove the word trust.
why don't we just
Yeah.
revise that sentence to read, "They have presented a program which will save money in the near term because of increased state reimbursement for full versus half-day students and the elimination of midday bus runs." By taking out the $57,000, you make it clear, you don't buy into their best-case scenario, but you recognize there can be savings. There are a whole variety of things. And by not putting it in there, we're not misleading readers.
I like it.
I like it.
I'm down.
Okay, so we're gonna say, we'll save money in the near term,
Because of,
where are we?
strike the words, the actual.
Oh, yes, okay,
The actual savings could be up to $57,000 per year,
okay,
and the sentence makes,
all right, I
Perfectly
got
good
you,
sense.
I got you. I took that out, okay.
and then we're taking out the words, "it will enhance property values," and the next sentence is, "It is believed that it will give students the opportunity to be better prepared for first grade."
It is believed, yeah. Okay, got it. It will give, okay.
What about the last sentence?
I think it's a counter argument to what we voted.
It is, but it's sort of obvious, but it's a factually accurate statement. That is to say, if you're using all of this space for kindergarten, then you don't have this space to use should there be a bubble class, or should there be extra special education needs where they need physical space to do them in the elementary school. And because that space was occupied for other purposes, they won't have it. In my mind, that's not critical, but it is a factually accurate statement.
I mean, in that instance, wouldn't you just be better served to put a note that states the likeliness of expansion needs at either of the elementary or the middle school is, with the approval of, I mean, if we're trying to just inform the taxpayers, if we're just talking about the likeliness of needing space instead of being specific about a bubble or 5 classrooms or
Well,
whatever it is, it's
What
just,
if you just said, additionally, using up to 5 classrooms for kindergarten will reduce future space flexibility,
Yeah,
period.
that's good. I like that.
You don't have to get specific about,
okay, yep.
I only say that because in the background here is a study group gonna study the facility at Centerwoods on what future needs are. And I hear full-day kindergarten established, and then now we're gonna look at what we need to do with Centerwood. Sometimes one follows the other.
It's been an issue for years at Centerwoods. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah,
They kicked the 4th grade out to.
That's
make
right.
room.
yeah.
So we're eliminating,
What I'm gonna say, additionally, using up to 5 classrooms for kindergarten will reduce future space flexibility,
Period.
period.
but we're eliminating the sentence that begins, or the language that begins, "the committee," and ends at a transportation cost, those 4 lines.
No, the tax, focused on short-term isn't that staying in there? Focused on short-term savings, the initial savings achieved are expected,
Remember, you're back up to the first paragraph, because we were at the end.
No, he's saying the initial savings achieved are expected.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Is that what you're talking
Okay.
about, Neil?
Yeah, so far, we're saying the committee, I'm reading in the middle of that
Yeah.
paragraph. "The committee therefore is supportive of this initiative. It will bring Ware in line with the vast majority of New Hampshire communities in offering a full-day program. It is believed it will give students the opportunity to be better prepared for first grade." I thought that the next sentence was supportive of the minority, and therefore it should be taken out.
It did seem that way.
Yes.
And
So
I
I-
think it's why we skipped right to the last.
So that
Sentence.
sentence goes out, and the next sentence goes out.
And then,
we were, sorry, we were talking about keeping that because it did seem that although there was a majority that voted for it, the majority still thought that there was some cautions involved in this.
okay, then leave that in. Is that what you're saying, James?
Yeah.
That's my suggestion. That's,
Yeah.
Yep, okay.
So can I flip this to a positive? Can we
Yeah.
just say something like, we urge the taxpayers, or the drivers for the decision is based on the benefits of kindergarten. I'm sorry, I just lost my train of thought. It was more, I want it to be more on the focus of the drivers for kindergarten, and that we were not making the decision because of the savings. That would be more accurate to what actually happened. Now I gotta think about how to say that. The committee, at the same, I would say something like, the committee supports, oh, boy.
you want to support the full-time,
Yeah, but it's, we,
Full-time.
again, we didn't, the spirit is correct. We,
Why don't we just say, but voters should be aware that the initial savings achieved may not,
I
may not
get the
occur.
spirit. He's talking about being aware and informing. I do like that wording better. If it said, be aware, that way they know that we're not talking about the savings. We didn't make a decision based on the savings, but we acknowledge that even if there are savings, they're not going to be long-term. You know what I mean? That's the
Be
spirit
aware
of it.
that salary and benefit costs will increase at a faster rate than any savings.
Yeah, but that's kind of an assumption too, Bill. I mean,
Well,
I mean, I don't know.
I don't know that.
it's probably a more realistic assumption.
Yeah, 17% GMR this year, over 7% last year. I think those salary and benefit costs are going up faster. Contracts get
Yeah,
approved.
I think that there's details here that, like, and it's just easier to say, be aware because the net savings are likely to dissipate over time. Because that's factual, right?
Yeah, I'm just thinking of a couple of other sentences. I think you could, save a couple of sentences by simply bring where in line with the majority of New Hampshire communities offering a full-day program. I would suggest taking out, it'll enhance property values. And maybe even the next line too, because I think that educators would argue that it goes beyond just getting them ready for first grade.
It indoctrinates them for their future, for voting.
Well, I had a superintendent who said that you don't solve the dropout rates in high school, you solve it in kindergarten and first grade. And, what he meant obviously is that the kids have to have a good, solid start if they're gonna succeed later. Just an idea, I definitely would take out will enhance property values, I don't think.
Yeah, we have that
It's
struck.
already been
I noted that we
Yeah,
struck that.
It's already been deleted.
And then I suggest taking out the next sentence too, but.
It will give students the opportunity to be better prepared for first grade.
Yeah, I don't care if that's there or not personally.
I don't either.
Leave
Well,
it in there, leave it in there.
Okay.
I don't think it's a bad sentence,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
I'm not sold on it. I don't necessarily,
okay.
I mean, I voted for the kindergarten
Some parents-
because I think it's a good opportunity, but I'm not necessarily sold on the fact that if a kid doesn't have kindergarten, they're not gonna be.
So I think what you just said was if we struck that last sentence, everybody seems to be in favor of just striking, except James didn't say anything.
Well,
The-
I
it
was
is
just trying to leave
believed.
something in there that supported it.
Well, I mean, the vote supports it, right?
Yeah, I'm just trying to say why.
It's hoped that that'll better prepare them, but I don't think it's going to.
Yeah, it is believed it will give students.
I'm indifferent on it, guys, so you can,
it's argumentative, it really is.
I don't care, I'll take it out if you want, cut down on the.
Tom asked for it to be taken out. I'm indifferent.
I'm on the fence, I'm indifferent.
Yeah, same.
You take it out. I'm happy.
Take it out? Okay, do we
Tom,
have?
I mean, if you feel strongly about it, if we're indifferent and you feel strongly, then this would be an example of a
I-
compromise where you just take it out.
I don't,
Just saving the words, and I don't think it's necessary because I think bringing it in line with the rest of the state.
Okay.
Already says that.
it is believed is out.
Okay. So now, we do have to decide at the end of this, So I think, Neil, when you had stepped out, we had said that, we were talking about adopting your wording. What was it? So at the committee, did, you start to rewrite that, Bill? Instead of
Yeah.
caution?
Yes.
I think I started with a thought and I couldn't quite come up with the
Salary
word for it.
benefits. Here we go.
Oh, I think I made the, I'm sorry, I made the comment about dissipating.
How about, yeah, I just use the word decline. I've got, see if this makes sense. The committee, at the same time, if you don't like the word caution, substitute a different one. Cautions the taxpayers not to be too focused on short-term savings, which are expected to decline as salary cost benefits outpace reimbursements.
Can you just change expected to likely,
Okay?
please?
Which will likely.
Which are likely to
Which are likely,
to
okay?
decline. I'll feel more comfortable with that.
Likely to decline as salary cost benefits.
Can you just put increase over time? I mean,
Salary cost benefits, you don't want to say outpace reimbursements, will likely outpace reimbursements.
people understand, it's, oh, I see your point. To expected, well, when I said dissipate, that's what I really meant, dissipate. But
Can I get back to are expected to decline as salary cost benefits will there's where you get, will likely outpace reimbursements or state revenues?
Sure.
Outpace, because the busing issue, that'll kind of go away after the first year. I mean, it's always going to be there, but state reimbursements and transportation cost savings. I mean, I can get it in there. Okay. The committee at the same time cautions taxpayers not to be too focused on short-term savings, which are expected to decline as salary cost benefits will likely outpace state reimbursement and transportation cost savings.
Salary benefit costs for added staff, you need to keep added
Oh,
staff.
yeah,
in there.
yeah. Okay.
Can you just,
Read that again.
well, the salary and benefit costs, I think, having that spelled out specifically, not just
Did I say-
salary costs.
Oh, no, yeah, I meant salary and salary costs for, salary and benefit costs for added staff.
Yeah, so if you could just not use the slash, but spell that salary
Okay.
and benefits.
Salary
That's-
and
I know it's
benefit
nitpicky.
I didn't know
but-
you were getting, that makes
costs,
sense.
yeah, or added staff. When I get home, I'll never be able to read that writing, but that's okay. I'll call Leah. She got it. Okay. And then the last line was additionally using up to 5 classrooms for kindergarten will reduce any future space flexibility period. Naomi, you awake back there? Yeah.
And so we're striking that, yeah, that we struck the last name, the any flexibility, future increases, et cetera.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Okay.
On to Stark.
Stark, John Stark School Budget, recommended 9-0. The school district has proposed a budget which is the same as the default. Both represent a 1.43% decrease from the current budget. The decreasing budget is consistent with the reduced student population. The long-term trend has seen a declining student population from 875 in 2008 to 668 in 2017 to 587 in 2021. The committee believes the district has done a good job of controlling annual operating budgets.
We got no comments.
I have no issue with that. I mean, this one's gonna get voted in.
Yeah, it is.
We don't need to
It is.
oversell it.
No,
Okay.
Okay, John Stark teacher contract. This is a 3-year contract averaging 4.2% to 4.31% increases each year. Again, that was out of the public hearing slide. The total cost of the contract after 3 years is projected to be $1.176 million more than today. The cost would be shared between Henniker and Ware, proportionate to student residents. Ware has historically had a majority of students. The expected impact on a 350,000 property in Ware would be, but that may be harder to figure, you gotta get the ratio.
Two-thirds, one-third?
Yeah, 2/3, 1/3, about, yeah, but I'll let Neil get me that number.
No, you have the number here, it's 1.176 million,
That's,
but
that's added all, that's
that's
not
for
the,
both.
that's for year, compounding, year 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, I understand, I'm not
Yeah.
debating that, I'm saying.
You got a
that
different number with which to get the,
Of that 1.176, Ware is responsible for X,
Correct.
and Henniker for Y, and if it's 1/3, 2/3, Naomi can do that easily, but I don't know what that division is.
yeah.
Is it?
Oh, so,
It's not always I mean, it's gonna vary from year to year based on
Yeah,
student.
I don't know what it, I've always thought it was one-third, two-thirds, but I honestly don't.
I
know.
think
You're
it's,
right.
We need to check with the.
It varies year to year.
it varies based on the student
enrollment.
Yeah.
population. Now, they can they can estimate it in there.
Yeah, based on
School
enrollment.
district, the SAU will have that number.
but to Neil's point, the perception of the taxpayer in Ware will be that the total cost 1.176
Okay.
to Ware.
Okay.
He's right about the way that reads.
So what I need to do is take that 1.176 number and break it out for how much estimated based on
I
their
think so.
projections
Yep,
applies to Ware.
Because you say projected, which covers you, it doesn't have to be an exact.
Yeah, but it won't be close to being exact if it doesn't break it out for Ware. Ware would be about 800 probably, if it was like 2/3. What I can do is I can call the SAU and say, what's the percentage right now, expected? I mean, if, over 3 years, it may change some, but what's the number that we should use?
Sure.
Yes,
Okay.
yeah, I agree with
So
that.
you're gonna change that sentence, the total cost of the contract for where?
Yes,
Okay. And
after
then-
3
and
years.
then-
For
and then-
Ware is projected to be XXX, and I'm
And
just
then,
gonna,
then the next one, we say the actual cost would be shared between Henniker and Ware proportion to student residents?
You
No, I don't have to
You
do
don't
that
need that
anymore,
sentence.
because I've already broken it out.
That
Okay.
sentence gets deleted.
yep,
Yeah.
that shortens it, nice.
Yeah, I can just say where
I'm doing some of
historically, I
this,
just
if
take
you
out
need to see what
where
it
has
looks like.
historically had the
Strike
most
through it, see
students.
what it
Take
is.
that out.
Yeah, you can take
I've
that
been-
out as
I've
well.
been-
Bill, I
I've
have a
been
number
bad
if it's
gazing at
two-thirds.
Okay.
I don't know if I'm keeping up, I don't type very fast.
Yeah,
I
but
should've
if
just given
it
you, 'cause
is,
you're
if it
one of
is,
those
if I
people.
call them and they say it's 2/3, Naomi's
It's
not,
$218
$218 after 3 years?
for $350,000,
Yep. And that's after the 3 years.
if it is two-thirds.
If 2/3, okay. I'll verify with them.
Wait a second, and just make sure I understand this. The 1.176 million this is a 3-year contract, right?
Yes.
So you've added 1 plus 2, 1 plus 2 plus 3, and that comes out to be 1.176.
Yeah, you take 3, 2, 1.
But when you put in the effect on the property value in Ware, it's just going to be,
1, 1, 1.
no, it's going to be 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Not 1.
Naomi, when you gave me that number, were you using 2/3 of the 1.1 million? No, okay, that's not right then. So Neil, take the 3 numbers,
I got to get the contract.
yep, you take the 3, while I'm reading the next one. You take the 3 numbers, take 2/3 of
Just
it,
talking about this.
and then
number
divide
right
it by the
now.
tax rate,
I
by the
do not
assessed
have-
value.
I don't have a copy of the John Stark.
Okay.
No. Does anyone have a copy of the John Stark warrant?
I think I do.
Everything in my
I got it,
bag,
I got it
just
somewhere,
too heavy.
somewhere. Somewhere I got it. Well, I see a contract down here. That's where, wouldn't you know it?
Gave me hers the last meeting, so what the hell did I do with it? John Stark.
Ah, shoot.
I thought I did. To be fair, I was using Megan's initiative. I think she might have taken it back.
Oh, I got it.
Give me the 3 numbers.
Okay. 204770. 185923.
Yep.
190367. Oh, shit, yeah, I got the addition up here.
Not right?
No, well, the addition, forget, that's where I come with the 1.1. The 204, I'll tell you what it is.
581,060.
Okay, 581,060. Okay, take that, 2/3 of that, divided by the assessed value. The assessed value for where? Right.
Let me just check those numbers again.
Yep,
Yeah?
yeah, let's see.
If it, I did 2/3 of 581,060 multiplied by 350, came up to $108.
$108, okay. Right,
I'm using the check right now.
yep, the 2/3 would be $108. That would be your permanent floor for your taxes after. That would always be there, okay. Okay. We'll assume those numbers are right, I'll move on to the next one. Okay.
And we're gonna remove the last sentence.
Number, Naomi, but I mean, I think that's possible.
Yeah, you are striking the last sentence,
Yeah,
Bill,
the
right?
last sentence is gone, right?
Yes, that's out.
581,060.
Okay.
Yep.
Thanks, James.
John Stark Support Staff Contract, Article 5, recommended 9-0. This is a 2-year contract with an emphasis on year 1 hourly rates. The district moved to establish a competitive wage for positions which have been historically difficult to fill. Year 1 increases of 8% for office staff and paras to 13% for food service and janitors are designed to attack that specific issue. Year 2 would be a 2% hike. The total cost of the contract after 2 years is projected to be $229,000 more than today. The committee supports this as a focused approach to solve the specific problem of non-competitive starting pay.
That's right.
Is 229 just where, or has that been?
No, you're right.
Oh,
deal with
boy.
that?
You're right. And the 220, yeah, you're right. So it would be for where?
To
It would be
where?
2/3, if the 2/3 is right, that would be the impact
Right.
Yes.
on where?
So,
But it
just so
would
the,
not be.
I was gonna say, so I would start with the wording, the total cost to where, just insert to where
Yep,
of the contract after 2 years is projected to be, and then whatever the 2/3 of 229 is. So we'll just, if we just take 100, yeah, change that to 153,000. Okay.
$66.
on,
Oh, there's no line for the,
Oh,
no, we don't have a line for that yet, but when you said $66, you threw that number out, is that on the support staff contract, or is that a
that's
revi?
a support staff contract.
Okay, there's no
Okay,
line in
but-
that right now.
The 229 should not, oh yeah, it's a 2-year contract, so that 153 would reflect
just what?
year 1 twice and then year 2, so you don't want that.
What are you looking for? The total cost of the contract?
That's
You
what
wanted-
the
you
way
wanted
it's
to
written right
follow on
now.
the same, if you do the same thing you did,
Okay, that's, so the first year is 101,864.
yeah, it's gonna be a lot less than the 66, because you're
Plus,
not using 101 twice as a second.
Are we putting a line in that says cost of the, because I think we're just talking about the total contract, not the actual, the 66, is he talking about $350,000 house?
the total cost for the 2 years is 462. 101 times 2 plus 25. Wait a second, I think
No,
I added that wrong, hold on. $229,578 is the total cost of a contract for 3 years. But
It's-
if you want the number for
2-year contract.
2-year
For
deal.
2 years, sorry. But do you want the number now for recurring costs?
So,
Just where?
so the 229, so the cost for wear is 153, because you're doing it for wear, you're taking 2/3, if the 2/3 is right.
Times 2, 153,052 is what
Right,
it's cost.
I just put 153. Now, though, when you're figuring out the recurring tax impact, you don't base it on the 153, you take
43 bucks.
43 bucks. You know what we did, right? Just 1 year, and 43,
I was listening.
43.
That was my good subject.
So are you adding a line that says what the expected tax impact, because you don't have that in now?
Expected tax impact, I want to see if it makes sense. If it was 108, yeah, 43 instead, yeah, it's 108 on the teachers and 43 on the, yeah, I think so. I'll double check the numbers when I correct this. $43 on a $350,000 house in Ware, yeah, okay. Okay, I think I can get the numbers
Can I
right.
give you one, just
Yeah.
one? It's really just small, but can we use the word address instead of attack? Just sounds less aggressive.
Have I got attack in there?
Yeah, designed to attack that specific issue.
To address, yeah, sure.
Good call, Tom.
To attack the
I'm
specific
just trying not to
issue.
use those words.
Well, I was watching Russia-Ukraine issues, and thought that word popped up.
All right, so are we good
Okay.
with the rest of that then? You're adding a line that says what the net impact is, because it,
Yes, yeah, the $43 on a $350,000 house in Ware, yeah, after,
And that's where share,
that's Ware's share, yeah, okay. I think it'll actually go quicker now. Town of Ware warrant articles?
yep.
Tom's happy now, we got through the schools, right?
It's all good.
You happy? Okay. Town budget, recommended 8-1, the committee supports the proposed budget, which is 4.6% increase over the current year. The default is a 1.3% increase. The $237,000 difference between the proposed and default results in about a $45 tax increase on a $350,000 property. The majority of the $237,000 difference, $182,000, is in the highway and transfer station budgets. With high inflation, the committee wanted to ensure that these critical services to the town has sufficient funds for repairs, parts, trash removal, fuel, sand, and salt. Approving the proposed budget will also more accurately align budget line items with expenditures. Comments?
I like this bill.
There may have been other issues. I
I mean,
was the
this-
one who focused on the
This was the big
highway.
one. We said like the DPW's just got a profound effect. So
Good?
yeah, I mean, I like that.
Okay, rolling. Non-union town and library pay raise, recommended 9-0. Noting current inflation, the committee supports a 3-year % increase for these employees. The committee expressed concern about recent difficulty in hiring retention at the junior and entry levels. Warrant articles such as Article 5 and 6 this year, and the Parks and Rec and Public Works in previous years have resulted in a piecemeal approach. The committee encourages the town to look at adjusting this article in the future to consider setting a higher rate for employees and a lower rate for supervisors. And you may not want that stuff in there. Discuss.
No, I think that's what we said, and that was one of the
Yeah.
reasons there was such a high vote.
I think, is this the one Neil said, I'll vote for it if you put that in?
Yeah.
Then we made a deal. A deal is a deal, Rand. I'm a man of my word, if anything.
Okay.
Can I just,
Yeah. Fire
is
away.
it me, is piecemeal implying negativity, or is it you guys okay with that?
I was trying to say, these onesies and twosies.
No,
keep
no,
popping
I
up.
under- I
Yeah,
understand.
piecemeal.
I like to be
call it
PC.
piecemeal, yeah.
If I'm being nitpicky, then we can move on.
Moving on.
Move it on,
Yeah,
moving on.
moving
I
on.
have thick skin.
Library pay raise, recommended 7-2. This is in addition to 3% raise in Article 4. The committee supports an additional $1 an hour raise for library staff who are currently paid less than their counterparts in many towns throughout the state. Current pay for 7 of 8 library staff range from approximately $11 an hour to $16 an hour. I got those numbers from Beth.
Can you just add an S to range, please, so it's grammatically correct?
From, what is it?
Well, either ranges, well, yeah, it's ranges. You
Current
put an
pay
S on
for 7
range.
of 8 library staff ranges,
Yeah, just add an S on the end.
S, okay, got it, okay.
Good? Everybody good on that?
Yep.
Okay.
Chris would have caught that last year.
She would have, actually. She absolutely would have.
If you're listening, Chris. We got it. Article 6, Parks and Rec pay raise.
Should we give Tom a test? What makes you say ranges?
Because it says approximately 11 to 16, which indicates it's a range. It's more than one.
No, nice try. That's because the subject of the sentence is the word pay, which is singular. And that's why the verb
The pay ranges.
is ranges.
Pay for 7-Eleven.
I was right.
I'm sorry.
But then you would say the range is approximately.
You could say that if you
Yeah,
wanted
because
to.
it's not written correct, whether I'm right or wrong. And I got no problem if its range is approximately. I would definitely not argue either way.
How about if I put the S on?
Yeah, that works.
Yeah, just leave it in there. Yeah.
I like it, flows better.
Again,
Article 6, Parks and Rec, pay raise. This recommended 7-2. This raise is in addition to the 3% raise in Article 4. Part-time Parks Rec positions have traditionally been hard to fill, and Article passed last year provided some relief. This provides an additional $1 an hour incentive for returning staff.
I love the tone of disappointment in the second to last sentence. It provided some relief. This is good.
Next, are you happy with that?
Yeah.
Okay, Article 7, 2 full-time EMT firefighting positions, recommended 8-1. The committee supports this article, which will add 2 full-time EMT firefighters, completing the 4-year plan of having 8 full-time EMT firefighter positions in the fire department. This will provide a more stable, uniformly trained workforce, avoiding the uncertainties of depending on per diem staffing.
Sounds good.
Okay, what is not in there right now, Neil, is the follow-on cost of those.
Thank you for reminding me.
Oh, I should, And I don't know.
This
because
is the one that said
there's
it was a net
additions and-
zero because it's gonna, there's gonna be
addition-
offsetting amounts.
Yeah, but on the follow-on years, it's not. Because a per diem payback is not gonna equal the salary benefits of the firefighters, and I don't know what that.
This was a confusing conversation, and we all agreed that it wasn't 100% offsetting, but it was where Bob had said it was likely, and we kinda just,
Well, for
But
now,
the problem is he used the same money twice.
well, I think we got him, I think we got him to take it away from the discussion on
We
the other,
did.
the other thing, yeah.
And
So-
I think that we decided that even though it doesn't offset in the future years, our discussion is this year.
yeah.
And then next year, we would address any.
Why don't we finesse this by saying something to the effect, we're not certain that the offset is real, but this is important enough to pay for it regardless.
I think that kind of undermines our credibility. I mean, granted,
You know,
the wording itself.
I went back and looked last year, we left the cost part out of it. I think maybe we just let this one ride the way it is.
I mean, it confused the hell out of all of us, or most of us, so,
I think,
I don't know. if
I
we can
think the
explain it.
important thing is here, it's a 4-year program, 2 per year, we're in the 4th year of it now. People have voted for it every year, and they're probably gonna vote for it again. And that'll tie that up into a nice bow tie on it.
We're not saying anything about the offsets whatsoever in this, is,
No,
you know, because, again, it's
They're
kind
gonna
of
have
like, it's
to
kind of like, it's kind of like the kindergarten, when we're not really voting on it because of the cost merits of it, we're voting because
Right.
this is,
But in the kindergarten, at least we discussed the cost issue. Here, we're not saying anything about it, and we're the finance committee. We just think it's great to have more firefighters. We have no concern about the cost or the offset, but it's just great to have more firefighters. I mean, doesn't that damage our credibility?
I think it's a legit concern,
How did you have it?
put differently.
boy, am I glad I brought this one up.
Yeah, so, I'm just reluctant, like James said, to talk about the offsets, because you talk about the offsets, now you're gonna get into the nuts and bolts of the offset. If you wanted to make a statement that indicates that this year, there'll be some offsetting costs, if we imply that this year's, there'll be offsetting costs,
For the first year only, there may be offsetting costs.
that's not true. There will be offsetting costs recurring, it's just whether it will be 100%.
It will be it'll be the
he
per
suggested
diem.
for
The
this-
per diem,
for the
the per diem
fourth-
firefighters
fourth
will
year.
disappear, and the cost. If I called you, Naomi, are you able to give me sort of a number to put in there? Say, in future years, the recurring costs would
It's
come?
very tough for future years, because you don't know, we schedule for worst case, meaning family plan. Most of them have
Okay.
ended up being less than a family plan.
Yeah, yeah.
So if you said this year's, I mean, you could just define offsetting costs to this tax-paying year or something of that sort. I mean, I don't want to get into the negatives and the positives.
The offsetting costs, cover the cost of the first year, which is a half year.
Correct.
In future years, they will not be sufficiently, they will not offset the cost, and there will be an increase in taxes. In the second year, forgetting about the double counting issue, even under Bob's proposal, next year, you got a full year's worth of pay, but it's the same amount of savings on the per diem, as I understand it.
All of that is right in the warrant article. I mean, it has figures in the warrant article itself that,
But they were incomplete, Tom, because this is a half year, you're only getting 2 people for half a year, and it netted out to 0, right?
but
Because he
doesn't the
took a
warrant,
full,
go ahead, I'm sorry.
but because he took,
Neil, can you, if this is a debate, you really need to be on the microphone.
The fire chief took the savings for, I'm not sure.
What I was gonna say is just that, I'm pretty sure the warrant article gives the figure for the full year,
For the estimated annual.
estimated annual.
180,000,
They do?
Yeah,
180,700.
so doesn't that solve that problem that we're trying to do with the blurbs here? I mean,
Yeah.
It tells
Yeah.
the
It's a
full
good-
cost for a year.
It is a good point. It does say the 180,000.
Yeah, we've always been one what the next year's budget.
Yeah, I'm in favor of leaving it out.
Maybe it will complicate it because it's right in the warrant article.
Yeah, it's not that, I don't want to hide anything, I just think that
Yeah.
it's going to
Yeah.
overcomplicate it if we put too much in there.
We didn't do it last year either.
So,
And it was a confusing discussion overall.
so, Neil, I think your points are valid, but I think that we're going to overcomplicate it if we add more in there.
Okay,
Okay. Article 8, ambulance. Ready? Recommended 9-0. Approving this article will result in replacement of one of our 2 ambulances, a 2009 GMC, which is nearing the end of its service life with less reliability, increased maintenance, and downtime. There is no tax impact. The fire department's special revenue fund has a sufficient balance and will be used for the purchase. Annual ambulance reimbursements and the remaining balance in the fund are projected to be adequate for future planned major apparatus procurements.
Sounds accurate to me.
Good.
Okay. Article 9, Capital Area Mutual Aid Fire Compact, recommended 9-0. The committee agrees that this move will provide the fire department a better, more reliable, and more cost-effective communications support system. We'll use CAP Area's infrastructure, towers, and dispatch, which they maintain. The committee believes this move will be cost-effective in the long term, as we will avoid any larger capital improvements in our existing communications infrastructure as relate to fire. It is noted that police communications support remains with Goffstown Dispatch, as CAP Area services only fire. Additional support services not currently provided through Goffstown Dispatch are also provided by CAP Area. The committee notes the recurring $84,000 annual cost for CAP Area will be partially offset by an approximate $40,000 reduction in canceling the current contracted services through Goffstown.
Do we really need to have police in there? I'm reluctant to have any police comments in the fire comments, and I'm open to any feedback.
I only mention it because I'm thinking that some people are going to get confused and think, oh, this solves our overall overarching communication system problems, when the police are still serviced with our current towers and
but
pockets. Go ahead.
you say in the prior sentence as relates to fire, doesn't that?
You could just say
I share Tom's concern. I didn't understand why you put that sentence in.
Well, as relates to fire, people, I think.
you could just say only, the fire department only, and just be done with that sentence.
I don't know. I just thought that people might think
Can we get some other, you guys
Why,
kind
what happened? How come police aren't included in this? Or next year, when the system craps the bed, and they say, and police says, now we need to do major surgery on our existing
I
system.
think you covered it by saying infrastructure as related to fire. It doesn't
Okay,
speak of the police, it's.
right.
And if you're,
You happy with that?
Yeah,
Leave
I understand,
Yeah.
that we, but it's not up to the finance committee to explain that.
To educate,
that nuance.
okay.
I-
Yeah.
I can extract that stuff after the word relate to fire. Additional support service not currently fire, also provided by cap area, okay.
D on relate.
Just strike, so you're gonna strike the
I'm gonna strike
sentence-
that, it is noted the police
Yeah.
communication support, that sentence is out. Then when we pick up with additional support, what'd you say?
Well, I was just saying, infrastructure as related or as relates to, as it relates to fire, or
As,
it's either a D or an S, one of the.
as relates, how about, I like S's. Additional support services not currently provided are also, yeah, that, he mentioned these other bells and whistles that they have, they can provide something
Yeah,
extra
yeah,
that
they-
Goffstown doesn't. And then
Dealing with heavy
Yep.
patients.
there you go.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Bill, everywhere where you have cap, please put capital.
Oh.
I agree with that.
Okay,
not everybody knows that, that's a good catch.
capital, got it. Okay, Chris.
And also on the third line, cap areas, I think there's an apostrophe between the A and the S.
Yep, there is.
That's, wow. That's good.
Okay, next.
If you're a teacher,
That's
it's
just being
good.
possessive.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got a bad word in this next one, ghosting. They're not gonna know what that means. Oh, I did put removing markings, yeah, okay.
Oh, you did, you talked.
I did, I tried to, yeah, because I didn't realize it, but. Article 10, police cruiser recommended 7.2. The committee supports this article to replace a cruiser which has previously been placed out of service and sold for scrap. The current fleet has 4 Dodge Chargers and a Tahoe for patrol. Chief uses a 2013 Explorer. The current situation dictates using a marked patrol vehicle for administrative needs such as going to court, transferring evidence, as out-of-town storage facilities. Approving this article would move the new vehicle into patrol and ghosting or removing markings of a charger for administrative needs. Ensuring the full availability of 5 patrol vehicles will also provide the chief more flexibility in patrol now that the department has a full complement of officers.
Can we just change some wording to just make it unmarked? It's a need for an unmarked vehicle instead of ghosting. I mean,
Yeah.
I know you called it up first, so I'm not
Yeah,
criticizing.
yeah,
I
go,
just-
yeah, I
Well,
don't, go ahead.
unmarked is a very sensitive word in this town.
Okay,
It is.
yeah.
We should
Why
not be
so?
using it. Removing markings is much better than unmarked. Unmarked has connotations of police sneaking up to you in a vehicle that you don't recognize as a police vehicle.
My
I
first
think
experience
ghosting also has
with,
a different meaning, Bill, with throwing a set of plates. If you were gonna go do some drug deal, you
Okay,
put on a set of ghost
okay.
plates.
I only picked
Really?
it up, because I know the chief said,
So
use the term ghosting. and I-
Your knowledge in this area is very impressive. I wonder where you got it.
My father was a cop,
Yeah.
my brother was a cop.
Yeah.
Oh, no kidding, okay.
So I know the chief used the term ghosting, and I didn't, but the more after I put it in, I kept, and I reread it, I said, I don't like that word, yeah.
Yeah. I
So-
get it. I don't understand why unmarked has such a bad.
So, do we say removing markings?
So
or-
just put a comma after patrol, strike and ghosting,
Yep,
and the parentheticals, so it reads, such as,
would move the new vehicle.
approving this article would move the new vehicle into patrol and remove its markings.
And remove the markings from a charger.
Yeah,
And
remove the
remove-
markings from a charger for administrative needs.
The markings, okay, good.
That works.
A charger, okay, got it. Skate park?
So I really just,
Go ahead.
I might, this could be the way that I'm reading it, but the current situation dictates using a marked patrol vehicle for administrative needs. But we don't want that.
Right.
Chief doesn't like
Right,
to
so
be
what-
driving around.
Would it be more appropriate to say the current, it's an undesirable situation?
The current situation requires using Oh, I see, what you want to get undesirable in there?
Yeah, I mean, because it just indicates what the situation is. It doesn't say that that's the undesirable situation.
The
You get what I'm
current
saying?
situation is undesirable, as it requires using a marked patrol vehicle for administrative needs.
That works.
Yes.
Out of town, the chief was big on out of town.
Well,
Well,
we have
you
that,
can leave- you can leave
such as going to court or
and
transferring.
Oh, yeah,
You can leave
yeah.
that
Current
sentence in there.
situation dictates
The current situation is, what Neil said is the current situation is
is
undesirable
undesirable, okay.
as it dictates.
As it requires
requires, thank you.
using a marked patrol vehicle for administrative needs such as.
Okay, got it.
Thank you, Neil.
Skate park features. Article 11, recommended 5-4, Parks and Rec has identified features requiring replacement at the skateboard park in the center of town. A majority of the committee supported the article, noting limited resources in the Parks Rec operating budget and the article's very small impact on taxes. The minority opinion of the committee supported replacing these features through alternate sourcing, such as a local fundraising effort.
Perfect, except there's no period. You got to put a period after taxes.
I do.
Oh, it's not in mine.
No, it's not in mine either.
Oh, I'm sorry. He agreed. That was
no, I
that
do.
was
I
Bill
agree.
agreeing. I'm sorry.
I agree. Article 12, Transfer Station, Recyclable Special Revenue Fund, recommended 8-1. Currently, all revenues from recyclables at the transfer station go into the general fund. Approval of this article will allow 50% of those revenues to go into the special revenue fund, which can then be used to help fund future needs in equipment and facility upgrades. A similar fund has been effective for the fire department using ambulance revenues for equipment and apparatus needs. The committee supports this approach of targeting revenues to directly support the facility generating that revenue.
I wish this were 5-4.
I know, Neil. I know.
Okay, I don't know, I may need some help on these two. I don't know, the way I got it worded. Article 13, 10-wheel plow truck, recommended 6-3. The town needs to replace 2 plow trucks. The details of age and condition, I got it noted in the below article.
No, it says are noted below in the
In
Article
Article 14 recommendation. This will allow catch-up for the vehicle that was needed but not purchased last year. There is sufficient funding in the unreserved fund balance to purchase this truck. We don't need the minority opinion, right? It doesn't get put in there.
Right. I think that the first article, I just think that there's something grammatically. The town needs to replace 2 plow trucks, of which the details of age and condition are noted below in the Article 14 recommendation. I think that's the way you say it, of which, and with the lowercase t. Is that your intent?
Tell me how you got it. Not
The town needs to replace 2 plow trucks, comma, of which the details of.
No, the details of which.
Thank you, Neil. I was
Comma.
close.
The details of which, or the details
Of-
of the age and condition of which are noted below in the Article 14.
Oh, now you made it more confusing, Neil.
Can I, since we're talking about this, I would move the conditions from 14 into 13, because they're going to read that first. And so this is the condition of our trucks. Here's Article 1 to purchase one. Here's the next article to purchase one for the same reasons.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
And the thing is, some of this may be repetitive because the warrant article may not say it specifically, but they put the Board of Selectmen wording may repeat, but I don't know what
That's
that's gonna,
okay.
I don't know what it's gonna say, so that's,
I like James's idea. Do we,
I do too.
do we all?
yeah,
like-
moving that up, I can do that.
So,
So the town needs to replace, if I take the wording where it starts out, the town, in Article 14, the town needs to replace 2 plow trucks. It has a 2004 rusting Volvo 6-wheeler plow truck, both of which require high maintenance and have well in excess of 10,000 hours and 135,000 miles.
And move that section up.
In other words, take the entire blurb for 14 and put it under 13?
Correct.
it's the kind of.
We could, yeah, this article will replace one of the 2. The town is feeling the effects of having purchased no plow trucks for 6 consecutive years. And it again, in 2021, the 10-wheeler is a replacement vehicle of choice because of 50% increased load capacity, allowing more efficient operation for winter plowing, sanding, and year-round gravel hauling. Even if this article is approved, this may not be necessary, but I got it in there, and a truck is purchased, supply chain issues are likely to delay delivery till next year, making it all the more urgent for approval this year.
I think James is right. Take the
Entire
entire
thing.
Article 14 blurb, put it under 13.
And then add the one line that
And then-
says there is sufficient funding in the unreserved fund balance to purchase this truck.
Because 13.
That's what
Yes.
13 is.
That's right.
Okay, so that goes up. There is sufficient funding in the unreserved fund balance to purchase this truck. Then, for Article 14, 10-wheel plow truck recommended 9.0, I currently have no wording in it.
I just would say see Article 13.
Well, which ones ask for taxation?
14.
13. 14.
14.
14.
Of course, one of the problems people are going to have with this is they're going to think our committee is slightly inconsistent. On the one hand, on the article that says we need to replace things, you get a 6-3 vote. And then on the article where you have to pay for it, you get a 9-0 vote.
Yeah, that's a good point.
You know,
Comes with all the information.
yeah. Well,
This may be one of those cases where you want to explain
the minority
Minority
opinion may need to be in
13,
there.
yeah.
Because it says, the minority, or how about if you say there is concern, or the minority opinion of the committee did not dispute the need, but objected to the funding coming from the unreserved fund balance. They felt-
Period.
Okay. They felt, or they should have also been raised through taxation as in Article 14, or leave that out, or just say, they didn't, just period after unreserved fund balance.
Yep.
Is that what we're saying?
Let's be clear. It sounds like everybody's agreeing to make an exception and include a minority statement in this. I just want to make sure everybody's clear what's happening.
Otherwise, they're gonna say, why did 3 vote against it?
Yeah, no, I understand where you're coming from,
Yeah.
and I don't disagree. Leah, I know that you're deep there, but are you clear with what we're doing here?
Yeah.
And you're okay with that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay,
My
go ahead.
concern is not with the wording, it's that if the case is all sold in 13, and that's the truck that they're getting out of the fund balance, and then there's little wording to go with 14, there may be people who just say, well, I already bought one at 13, why am I bothering with another one?
They may say that anyway, because the 13 one is free, and the 14 one costs money.
That's where I would take basically your sentence, this will allow catch-up for the vehicle that was needed but not purchased last year. Put that under 14.
Really, 13's the one that's
No,
playing
You think
catch-up.
so? Oh, you think so?
Yeah, but maybe we put in 14. How about if we just leave 13 to say, this is the catch-up for the one that didn't, and then, no?
She's,
No, Naomi?
Naomi, okay?
Oh, man.
No, is that-
Naomi just had a heart attack.
I didn't know if you're thinking, no, I'm just thinking, 13 is really the catch-up. In 14, we put in the back-on-track comments that,
I agree with Bill. I think let's just take all the money out of it. The intention of 13 is because we didn't buy a truck last year. We all agreed on that. We agreed we should have.
Yeah.
We voted not to. Everybody agreed. So I can't see taking that out of 13. I think that that's appropriate.
okay.
okay.
The rest of it, I mean, obviously.
So in 13, you're gonna leave the town needs to replace the plow trucks to the details of the age and condition. You leaving that or pulling that?
I think you were gonna,
Yeah, I thought we were moving the entire verbiage of 14, putting it under 13, and adding a couple, I don't know what else we were going to add.
And then keep this will allow catch-up for the vehicle
Yes.
that was needed but not purchased last year.
So it's what I'm hearing is, if I'm not mistaken, we're going to keep the wording in 13 in regards to
Catch up.
the catch-up, and then using the rest of the wording, which are the details from 14. And we're going to do that in 13. Yeah, it is confusing, so I'm not the only one.
Just to make sure, Tom, once this is all done and Bill writes it up, he's gonna circulate it to
Yeah.
us.
Yeah.
And if we have a problem with something, oh, this isn't what we agreed to, we could forward those comments to you
That's
without
exactly-
violating right to know.
Exactly, so as long as it comes to Meet Central, and you can CC everybody, all right? But, you know, last year that worked out, so I don't see any reason why we can't do that.
I'll play with those two articles and see if I can come up with something that everybody's happy with.
Yeah, I mean,
How's that?
something, leaving basically nothing under 14.
I'm
is
gonna,
not
I'm
believable.
gonna put stuff in 14, I think, on something that will
I'd like-
say, getting us
Duplicated.
back on one-a-year program to
Yes.
catch up for all the years we didn't buy.
Just to emphasize that number 14, that would be our normal purchase.
Right, yeah, normal, whereas 13's the one we didn't, it's backfilling for what we didn't do last year, because we want to stay on a one-a-year program till we can get back to where we need to be. I think I can do that.
So Bill is gonna tweak 13 and 14,
Yeah.
which we're all gonna give comments via
Yeah.
email, which I don't think is an issue here. And we agreed that in 13, there will be still something on the minority
Yeah.
opinion. And Bill, here's my suggestion, I'd really like to avoid any sort of email debate. So I
Yeah.
would say that if the minority statement, if you can just make it as
Yep, oh, yeah.
short and direct as possible, I
Yep.
think that will
Yep.
help us all.
Yep, okay.
Thank you.
Article 15, medium-duty highway vehicle, recommended 9-0. Approval for this article will add sufficient funding to give the Highway Department a replacement for the 2009 medium-duty vehicle, which was used for lighter and more restrictive road and plow work, unsuitable for the larger fleet. The 2009 truck had been slated for replacement this year due to age, condition, and expensive repairs. It has since been placed out of service due to a vehicle fire, rendering it a total loss. Approximately $40,000 in the Highway Capital Reserve Fund is being used to offset part of the cost.
Moving on.
I mean, that sounds right. It
Good.
sounds very accurate.
Yep.
I'm
That
sorry.
was 15, correct?
That was
Yeah,
15.
15.
Article 16, road reconstruction, recommended 9-0. The 2019 road reconstruction bond provided critically needed resources to reverse the deteriorating condition of town roads. The town is now in a much better position to target recurring resources that this article provides on maintaining roads before they require a complete and costly restoration. The increased amount over last year's article is reflective of increased costs for materials used in road maintenance. State reimbursement is expected to provide just under 50% of the total cost.
I only have one comment. Can you, I hate to be Chris, can you take the comma after provides, because that's not a pause in the statement.
After provides.
It says that this article provides on maintaining roads, therefore they require.
Town is now in a
Complete
much better
costly
position to
restoration.
target recurring resources.
Well, he does have the.
Just take that this article provides.
Yeah, I mean, you don't stop and say this article provides
Just
on
delete
maintaining.
that.
Or
Well, you do, kind of.
provides
he-
for.
He's got the two commas that that sort of separate that out.
Yeah, just take out the comma and replace on with for.
Yeah, that
Town's
makes
now in a
sense.
much better position.
I know I'm being nitpicky, just, sometimes it was read funny.
What if I
to me.
just take that the article provides and leave that out? The town is now in a much better position to target recurring resources on maintaining roads before they require a complete and costly restoration.
Sure.
Okay.
There you go.
Good. Article 17, Master Plan Update Capital Reserve Fund. Not recommended 531. This article would establish a capital reserve fund to update the town master plan. It would also provide the first of 3 years of funding to support updating our current plan, which is from 2005. The committee majority believes there are more critical funding priorities this year. Committee members in the minority believe having a current master plan is a useful tool for the planning board, and that upgrading the master plan is overdue in consideration of the changes in the town over the past 15 years.
So can I give my comment? I don't mean to start a debate. I abstained,
Yeah.
I just didn't feel, I abstained because I don't feel like I know enough about the plan, what it does. I didn't feel like I was able to invest enough time, and I didn't think it was fair for me to vote on either side. This would be an instance where I would not have an issue if you guys decided to put in a minority opinion. I didn't feel like I could make a conscientious vote.
Well, I think this one's close enough that we would keep the minority.
Oh, I absolutely
He does
agree.
have a normal minority opinion.
Yeah. It's
No, that's what I'm
531.
saying, keeping it. I mean, I didn't know if we were close to renewing on this one, so I don't, just leave it if,
Well, I think Tom has the best background on, you stated a bunch of stuff. I tried to get it in there. I don't know if I got what your concerns were accurately reflected. I guess that'd be my concern.
Well, it's it's something you can't put in a couple paragraphs. The master plan's like, that they could involve community meetings and surveys, and so it has to be done sometime, but this is already decided, so we'll move on.
So we're leaving it the way it is.
Okay. We are on Article 18, cemetery improvements, recommended 9-0. These funds are used to maintain the interior town cemeteries. This is funded through withdrawal from the cemetery trust and has no tax impact.
Article 19, please.
Contracted services for licensed forester, recommended 9-0. The committee supports the contracting of professional services to manage and ensure the best use of the town's forests. This article is funded out of the town forest account and has no tax impact.
Perfect.
Article 21, all veterans tax credit, recommended 9-0. Under RSA 7228, the current $500 annual tax limit is limited to those veterans who served during war or period of armed conflict. It is based strictly on when you served, regardless of whether you were actually in combat or a war zone. This would extend the exemption to anyone who honorably served and otherwise meets the criteria. The committee supports this article based on one simple principle. When you sign up to serve, you have put your life on the line for your country, not knowing what the future holds.
No issue there.
Article 22.
Bill, you got that? You good with 21?
Article 22, elderly property tax exemption adjustment, recommended 8-1. Approving this warrant article will make adjustments to the...
Oh, hold up,
Whoa.
hold up, we need to stop.
Sorry, I.
Leah
hit
just had a
delete,
heart attack.
And I hit delete and it deleted everything, but I got it back.
Undo, undo.
Undo button.
I love my favorite button.
I know,
Now hit save.
I know, I did, I just had
Honestly.
a slight coronary.
I'm sure you got it. I'm sure you can recall it all.
Which article are we on again? I'm sorry.
22,
22.
and final.
The last one.
Elderly property tax exemption adjustment, recommended 8-1. Approving this warrant article will make adjustments to the current exemption program to bring it in line with the recent town-wide property revaluation. Last year, senior citizens who qualify the program saw their tax bills disproportionately increase as the entire increase in valuation was taxed. This would proportionally increase the exemption to reduce any undue tax burden on our most affected senior population, many of whom rely on fixed incomes. And I don't know, whether this has to be in there or not. As has been the case with the current program, any reduced taxes for seniors would be spread across other properties to meet the total tax burden. This impact, however, is expected to be considered minimal. And maybe I'm overstating that, or not necessary to have that in there.
I think that's probably correct, but check with Naomi. I think you should put something also in Article 21
Yeah, we-
about the minimal impact. Because
Yeah, we
you've
just
got to
don't
have
know.
something about
We
numbers.
just don't know how many, yeah, we don't know how many.
Or we could say it's indeterminable, but we need to say something
Yeah,
about the cost.
I think on 22, though, I agree with you, Bill, you could take off that ending.
Yeah, I agree.
As, the starting it as has been the case,
Yeah.
Take that out, or leave,
or just the
if
sentence
I take
before
that
this
out of
impact?
if I take that out, do I have to put it in, then can I eliminate it from both? Or just make a statement that the expected tax impact will be minimal?
I think, don't you think that language needs to be in both 21 and 22?
I would say so.
Okay.
I don't think it can hurt.
I mean,
But 21, you really don't have any idea, though. I mean,
well, no, but it's still the principle that obviously if we're not gonna be taxing a certain population, whether it's the elderly or it's veterans, that the rest of the town is gonna.
Veterans, you're only giving them a $500 credit.
Right,
yeah,
so it's a very minor amount, but it's still should probably.
You
be
could
something-
just say the way Finance Committee believes the tax impact to be minimal. And you could say that on both of them.
Right.
And just put it on both lines, the same thing.
Finance.
The Finance Committee believes
yeah,
that the tax impact will be minimal.
tax impact.
And then I don't have to give her a hard time for your comma placement.
Okay.
Uh-oh, why is my kid calling me?
What?
She knows I'm in a finance meeting.
Oh.
I can't, I'll text her.
Tom,
Yes.
we haven't discussed the impact of what we've done. Bill, at the beginning of the meeting, said, and I think I remember Megan had this number also, that the committee has voted to recommend tax increases of 15%. That is unbelievably high. We have inflation of what, 6.8% last year? 5.9 or something like that increase in Social Security, and we're increasing taxes by 3 times that? Almost 3 times that? I mean,
Yeah, what do you suggest?
I'm suggesting that we've all voted as we thought appropriate based on the articles. Now we have to look at the cumulative impact of what we're doing.
You say look
15%.
at it, I'm just trying to understand what you think the outcome will be. I'm not opposed to the discussion, I just want to know what goal we're getting to, that's all.
The goal would be to reduce the 15% to perhaps half of that.
So go back and revote.
At this point, everybody who should take his sheet and say, okay, we did this, this, and this, and this is why I wish Megan were here, because she made it really easy with that spreadsheet. If I have to bring this, I don't know what the dollars is, what 15% translates into dollars on a $350,000 house.
791.
Yeah.
Just under $800.
$800. Okay.
I thought it was 741, but you could be.
Okay, $750, whatever. I wonder if the committee is doing its job if it's proposing such a huge increase. I mean, somebody can check this, but I don't recall ever having a 15% increase in taxes in 1 year.
Okay, we're not voting for the taxes, we're just making recommendations. You're speaking as if we're voting for it, I see your point.
But at the beginning of our report, and Bill
I haven't written that yet, because it won't.
At the
be
beginning of
until
our
mail.
report, we have standard language that shows the impact of the entire package that we're supporting.
Okay?
And so we're going to say there that this represents a 15% increase in 741 or whatever it is dollars on a $350,000 house. If you think that the credibility of this committee it won't be unaffected by that, I would respectfully disagree. I don't see that the Finance Committee should be recommending a 15% increase in taxes. So I would hope that we would, at another meeting, I don't think we can do it tonight because we need Megan's spreadsheet, we need to review these things and change some of our recommendations.
So you want to reconsider our recommendations?
Absolutely,
Don't you-
yes, and
Don't you
that's
think the
what,
last meeting would have been a better time to do that, Neil?
last meeting, we were here till quite late.
Doesn't matter, Neil, you could have asked for another meeting, but we're here doing blurbs. And quite frankly, I think it's very late, it almost seems strategic.
At the beginning of this, of this year's Finance Committee meeting, sometime in last October, we agreed that we would go over this at the end. Now, if you want to do it after we've been to the deliberative sessions, we can do it then. But I think I've made my point.
Can I just say something on that? Last year, because we do create a table, and if all warrant articles were rejected, it was going to be on a $250,000 house, it would have been an 8.8% increase, $455. All warrant articles approved, 788, 15.3. Recommended by our committee was $673, or 13%. So last year, we had more no's that brought it down. This year, when you look at all warrant articles approved and what we recommended, they're going to be right, because we only disapproved one article, which was very minimal. So it's going to be about the same. When we do the comments that go into the table, the one wild card factor, I mean, we can say that that's going to be, it could potentially be that much, but we did put comments in here that revenues projected are conservative, and that does not include any, if revenues come in higher, fine. The selectmen have the opportunity to reduce taxes by an amount, and the schools, what they don't spend will go in as well, which is why it won't necessarily be that amount, but it could be. But you know, they need to know that could be that high, but there are some other factors that can help dissipate that.
Well, there are two separate issues here. One is the percentage increase,
Yeah.
which is not disputable. And the other is the increase in taxes, which depends upon factors that we don't know at this point.
That's what people care about, because that's when
I understand
when the
that.
tax bill comes.
I understand that, but obviously, well, I,
Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't, as I'm looking at these things, the big ticket items, we all voted pretty much 9-0 on, you know, for trucks and things that we just can't put off another year.
Well, you got school contracts. Those are
We
big
do have
ticket
school
items.
contracts, and I did point out, you know, that a small percent on a 17, you know, $trillion budget, you know, makes a large number. It's not trillion, but
Yeah.
you know what I mean.
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
it will be at some point.
Right.
I don't know, I mean,
But,
we all pay taxes, I think we all kind of knew, especially after last year, we were a little more conservative on some things because of COVID, that we knew this year might be a little bit of a sticker shock.
And we can put that in there and say, yep, they're higher this year because we, you know, we needed stuff from last year that we didn't do.
what was the percentage last year? Not for all articles, but for the ones that we recommended.
I have it. I
Wasn't
believe
it
it was 13%.
We recommended
We
13.
recommended 13%. $673 on a $250,000 house.
And so we're targeting it's about 15 right now.
On a 350.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If you, percentage is the best way to do it, though, because it's all things are relative,
Yeah,
right?
but the
Because of the
actual-
reshuffle.
It's the actions from the difference of what you said no to last year and yes this year, really. You said no to the truck last year, now it's a yes, with $30,000 inflation.
Yeah, I mean, that mistake cost us $30,000. There's no question about that.
Can I just, so I thought Megan was struggling with the percentage because of, I think this mask makes me gag. Because of such a great difference in net assessed evaluation plus all the money that was returned. I thought she was struggling.
Yeah, she was
with
trying to
that.
figure that.
She was trying to figure all that out to do an apples to apples, and I don't know if you can with the 40 to 60% difference in net assessed evaluation.
But that has to do with the tax rate, it has nothing to do with the percentage increase in spending.
But that's what the tax rate is based on.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't understand you.
So the tax rate is based on two things, how much you spend and how much assessed valuation you have, and how you assess the valuation. The percentage increase means that we had a budget of X last year, and now we're spending 15% more. The town and school districts together, okay? Last year we spent X, this year we're spending 15% more. It may cost us 15% more in our taxes, or 5% more in our taxes, or 20% more in our taxes, based on how much revenue we have and some other factors. But the fact that is, I think, irrefutable is that we're proposing a 15% increase in the budgets.
Just how much
I-
was that,
I
600?
just-
Unless,
I just don't think you can divorce the two issues, that's what, I understand what you're saying.
600 and something last year that you, at the 13%?
673 is what,
Okay, and you were looking at 772.
791 or something, for this year?
I remember 772, doesn't matter.
Okay,
But you're still
700.
looking at $100, right?
Right. Big two-
And that's a difference of a few things, honestly.
but, you mean every year we're going to have a $700 increase in taxes?
Well,
I'm hoping not.
Well, maybe not with the revenue streams.
And every year we're gonna spend 15% more? I mean, you can't run a business like that, and this town, at least for taxpayers, is a business. I don't know, I'm just shocked at the fact that we're spending that much more, and you folks seem to accept it blithely.
I just think it's a complete package with the revenues, with the offsets that the school and the town makes. And so, you know, at this time in the process, it always seems higher than it turns out to be once the tax rate is set. And, you know, we have to see what that's gonna be, but it can be projected. If you just look at what's turned back in previous years and average it out for revenues and so forth, revenues are always estimated low. And the boards of selectmen have put a substantial amount each year, not as much as some people would like, but I consider a substantial amount, $600,000 this year to offset taxes. So, yeah, I understand the percentage, but I don't believe that it's gonna turn out with everybody's tax bill being 15% higher next year. I don't believe that for a minute.
And don't forget, this is assuming that taxpayers completely vote with us. We know that they haven't in the past. Last year was the first time that I can remember recommendations being so close. There's no guarantee that they're gonna agree with us. As a matter of fact, I could see a lot of people not, I hate to say it, I could see a lot of people not wanting to vote for 3 vehicles for the DPW, as much as I know they need them, and I think that would be the wrong decision. Frankly, I think there's a risk of that happening
For the
still.
what?
The vehicles for the DPW,
DPW.
Yeah.
those big ticket items, I think that's,
21 cents.
yeah, I think it's a legitimate chance. I hope it doesn't happen, but been here 15 years, kind of see how things go. So, there's a lot of assumptions, yet to Neil's, to Neil's point, he is right, if it's all approved and we don't get enough revenue and those things could happen, but I also respect Tom's opinion when he talks about the revenues being estimated low and not knowing what the rate is. I don't think it's I think it's an appropriate conversation, I just don't know that, the majority of the committee here wants to go and revisit articles just because it's saying 15%, Neil.
I'm sure that's correct, Tom.
But it's so noted on the public record, of course, too, so I think your opinion is heard.
Naomi, for the tax collection for last year, what was the percentage of collection?
It was, the revenues were
I
higher.
can look at and get that to you, because I think it's, the last 2 times we've collected taxes, we've collected more money than we've ever collected.
I got it.
Okay.
That's right.
There's less outstanding than there's ever been.
Bill,
I'll give you those.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
I do like the comment that, if you wanted to put some comments in regards to being estimated and we don't know what the revenues will be. If you wanted to put something short, again,
Yeah.
a short point to that, so the taxpayers can,
Kind of what
Yeah.
like we did
Like
before.
last year, yeah.
I think that
Kind of talks about that stuff, just so they kind of understand could be, but there's other factors that go into that, that can reduce it, so.
All right, so can we talk about the timing of this, just so everybody's clear, because the last thing I want to do
Can
is
I
hang.
ask one more question? I know I'm not here to ask.
Yeah, do you want to be on a speaker, though?
I can.
If it's important, I'd rather have it be
Yeah,
heard.
I just have a question in regards to, and maybe it's just,
Microphone.
I do it all the time, but. So you say the default is higher by a percentage in all of them? But the percentage is based on what everybody voted last year, so it's not,
It's not a net percentage increase, is what
I
you're
just
saying.
don't feel it that way, but, I mean, default is what everybody voted on. It's a result of what everybody voted on. So yes, it's higher because people voted more. See what I'm saying? You take the budget and you add all those, Beth does it on the corner. When they went into the booth, they had all these things. And then as a result of voting yes, default became this number. So yes, it's higher, but to put in that it's 1.5% higher, it's really what they went and voted on. I'm just saying it was,
That's just a statement of fact that, hey, your default budget will be one.
but it's as a result of the voting in 21.
Yeah,
That's all, I'm just,
yeah, it's a fact that.
but some
that it's
people
still
get all
high.
messed up with
Because
percentages.
like John Stark, it's 1.4% lower than what it was last year.
Well, you don't talk about the default in John Stark's.
Yeah, I do.
No.
They're the same anyway.
It just said, yeah, okay, both represent a decrease.
Yeah.
It doesn't say the default is this and that. It just, some people are, it's very straightforward. That's all, no big deal. I think they need to understand what they voted on, though.
Yeah, I said both represent a 1.43% decrease from the current budget.
Yeah, we can debate it.
Okay,
We can respectfully disagree, but that's okay.
okay.
I'm not here to fight.
Yeah, I mean,
It's just a phrase.
I do agree with the point, like, if if the net increase, if there's a difference between an overall increase or a net increase after what we voted, I think it is helpful for the taxpayers. Because people that aren't in the know or in the inside might not realize that.
That what they affected was an increase.
You know, what's the affected increase to Naomi's point? I think it would be helpful, I'm not, you know, I just think it's helpful for the taxpayers, we'll leave it at that, and if there's a way to, call it out simply, I think it would be helpful.
Don't change, just continue.
I thought we did that before, though, to be honest, I think we did it, we might have did it in years past, we talked about how much, or just in our sheet, what was
The
voted.
default is a result of your vote, really.
The default is really called, on all items, is like the actual budget from last year.
Adding the articles that you voted
Yeah.
to, which
Yeah,
is
when-
why it's higher. It's always higher.
Yeah.
Tom, are we gonna be meeting again?
At deliberative session.
The next meeting is deliberative session,
Yeah,
that's the
that's
plan.
Because I have to post you guys' meetings too, for you're all gonna attend.
Right, but I'm actually not calling a meeting for the deliberative, we decided I wasn't going to do that, the
You
question.
have to post that you're gonna be in attendance together.
Okay.
So you're doing that for Stark, Town, and schools,
Yeah,
right?
so 12th, 14th, and 15th, do I have those dates right?
9, 2/11, and 2/12.
Yeah, I don't even know what I'm talking about.
Okay, so what was that?
9, 11, and 12, I had the dates wrong.
It's a week next week.
So, when, just details for dates, I'm sorry, I don't mean, are you getting to that?
Yeah, that's what I was trying to get to, which is what you need. So, number one, we need the blurbs printed for,
Where did we come up with that word? Why don't you say?
it wasn't me, it was before me.
8 or 9 years ago,
I hate that word.
a long time ago. Our comments, our recommendations with
You want to look,
comments.
Comments, there you go.
so,
Recommendations and supporting comments.
yeah, so number one, we need the printout for the, our blurb.
Right.
I don't know.
Recommendations.
Our recommendations for,
Comments.
and Naomi's gonna print them, so we need to get them to, I think you guys came up with an agreement when Bill, you would,
Well, I think, did I hear you guys are gonna comment back and forth?
I'm gonna take these, I'm gonna correct them, send them out,
Yeah.
and
And then gonna go back and
then I'm
forth?
gonna tell them, get something back. Get anything that jumps out at you back to me, maybe in,
can we just work backwards? You're gonna print them for us, when do you need the final version?
So I could print, so Wednesday morning,
the
I
night.
can print the Ware ones. And just somebody will have to pick them up for that evening.
You mean the Ware School District?
Where
Yes.
school?
And I can print them the day up. It's just,
I just wanna, don't want you to put you under the gun.
Saturday, I have to be printed on Friday.
Yeah, no, we'll have them, I wish they were all at the same
So if you could
time.
get it to me all before Wednesday morning, the 9th, that would be perfect.
So our deadline's Tuesday evening to have the final,
I'm gonna get stuff out to you by Friday night.
okay? So,
And then you can by Sunday night, tell me if I missed
well,
something.
hold on. I'm in the woods, I would like the chance to read it.
I know, but I don't want you to read it.
That's the point. I mean, I might have some, I'm gonna be back on Monday. I mean,
Okay.
what I was gonna propose is that we wrap up, because I'm still on vacation, but I'll have time on Monday too.
Okay,
We can wrap up the comments that come in or changes that come in by Monday night. And then Tuesday's our backup day if we need to, if you and I need to jump on a call. I don't think it will come to that,
Yeah,
but,
as long, I'm not
You
here
get
on
'em Wednesday.
Tuesdays, but if they're here Wednesday morning in my inbox, we can start printing.
okay.
We can send it to you by carrier pigeon.
they better be on a snowmobile.
I'm here Wednesday afternoon, so if you need somebody to pick something
Yeah, I
up,
just need to
because
be able to
the
print them
trustees
Wednesday
meeting
morning.
Wednesday
You know
afternoon.
what time it is?
So you'd pick up the printouts, is that what you're thinking? Because, are you going
You
Wednesday?
did, it's right
I'll
up
go to
there,
all
and I
three
put a
of them.
battery in it.
What's that?
Yeah.
Low on my
Okay.
priority list.
I mean, okay, so then, the next we will be together will be, for the folks that can
The ninth.
attend, is the,
It's Ware school.
the Ware School.
deliberative Wednesday night.
on the 9th, yeah, and then on the 11th at Stark, and the 12th on Saturday, which I'm just overly excited to sit in that gym for a whole day.
You don't need to sit there for a whole day.
Last year, we finished at, what, 3:30?
Something like that.
I don't have to drive 6 hours after.
What about Friday night?
Friday night? Well,
Friday.
no one went, it was last year's COVID.
Friday night, you probably have.
To be fair, the year before, there was like 3 people, and I
Yeah,
think Neil was
Stark-
one of them, at the Stark
The
one.
finance committee out numbered.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they usually, it's hardly anybody.
So I just want to, just one quick point, and I'm going to say this out loud because you all already know it, but for the newer people, let's just make sure that if we're going to make comments, that we just continue to do what we do and say I'm speaking on behalf of myself, something that Tom reminds us of every year, and I think it's good practice.
Yeah.
And then, is there anything else? I feel like I'm missing something.
We need to.
Adjournment?
What's that? Yes, no, that is truly it, but in regards to the deliberative, I feel like I'm missing
Are
something.
you gonna be the one that stands up and
Oh,
speaks
yeah.
to?
Yeah. So last year, Megan and I just alternated because my voice has a tendency to go away. But if anybody else wants to read stuff, I do it because that's what they told me traditionally we do, is the chair does it. So I'll continue that tradition, and Megan will help me out, hopefully.
The moderator has they'll read the question, move the question, talk about it.
And then give me an opportunity to speak first, usually, except last year, what's his name? Drake forgot about me at one of them.
Tom, is it your intention to read the recommendation or just
Read.
say we supported it 5-6 or whatever?
No, I'd like to, this is what we did the last 2
you
years,
read
I believe, we read the actual recommendations out loud,
Comments.
Yep.
our blurbs. Now I'm just teasing Naomi.
I don't know where that came from, but I hate that word.
I won't use it again.
Okay. All right, we're good. Move to adjourn. Adjourn.
Word.